Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 cents for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see.
Like 99% of the people in this world want to be great. Would you agree with that? Yeah, they're called wannabes. 1% work to be great. Drop the mic on that.
It was very casual. We were just kind of walking off the field, and he was like, "So what you gonna do?" I said, "I'm gonna come back next year." He was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm excited. Let's go to Atlanta." And I was like, "Yes, sir. Let's make it happen."
Yeah, I didn't sign any mustard bottles or golf balls. Maybe wish I had had a golf ball that night, you know what I mean? But I'm only kidding. All right.
There on the field, the pride of the Southland band crisply marches into the Giant T. The rear, the roar of 97,000 fans rises with each rhythmic step. In the background, George Beatsis is singing "Fight, Balls, Fight." The orange and white Shakers flood the air. The Volunteers are ready at the north end of the football field to burst through the gate. They're coming now, racing onto the field through the Giant T. In that magic moment that says, wherever you are, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley.
What's happening? I'm Dauber.
Dude, fall camp is in the rearview mirror. Fall camp, I feel like the diehard fans, the diehard Tennessee fans follow fall camp. They're reading practice reports. They're talking about who looks the part, who showed up in shape. Once we get through fall camp, we go into game prep mode. That's where we're at. I feel like business picks up, and that's what's happening right here on the Talkin VAWLS Network. We are in season mode. So that means every single Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll be live right here on the Talkin VAWLS Network. Myself, Dauber. Sometimes we'll be joined by friends. Sometimes it'll be me and Dauber. We're going to be live every single postgame. Every postgame. Immediately following the games, we will go live within just a matter of minutes. Myself, JP may be here. Dauber's going to always be here. Snake may be here. You never know who is going to show up, but it's go time, Dauber. Do you feel like the switch kind of flips, like maybe this last week or two leading up to the season?
Oh, for sure. Little crispness in the morning and the evening air. That lets you know it's football time. It's been to some high school football a little bit. Saw you the other night. So, man, getting ready. I threw on my throwback letters because we got the letters back up on Neyland.
That's why I played the clip at the beginning, because I saw you had that shirt on. So I had to rock that clip.
So,
there's something about, like you said, the weather. When you start waking up in the morning, it's a little bit cooler. High school football, I think that might be the kicker. That might be the driving point. When high school football kicks off, it's go time. Football is here. Let's run down the chat. Let's see who is hanging out tonight. We got a jam-packed show. We're going to talk a little recruiting because some of you guys said I was crazy. You told me I was crazy when I mentioned Carnell Tate and the conversations being had. Some people are saying, no, that's not the case. We got a clip we're going to play that may change your mind. We're going to wrap up fall camp. We're going to talk about, some takeaways, what we like coming out of this second fall camp of the Josh Heupel era. William Mohan suspension, Bru McCoy, tons of stuff to talk about tonight. But let's run down the chat. Let's see who's hanging out. Buck Buchanan was here bright and early, dropping those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. Isaac Owens in the house. What's up, Isaac? Good to see you hanging out. Robert Clark is here. What's up, Robert? Backwoods is in the house. James Faust is here. Nomad Vol is in the house as well. The Southern Life is here, encouraging everybody to smash that like button. Yeah, do me a favor, guys. Smash a thumbs up, share this thing out, blast it out on Twitter, on Facebook, social media, wherever you get social with your media. Call up your grandma, call up your aunt, your cousin, your uncle. Let somebody know Talkin VAWLS is live. Look, like I said, it's easy once we get into the season. You guys know now we're live every single Wednesday at 7. But let them know that we're live. John Hill in the house dropping a super chat for $11.11. Very interesting dollar amount there, John, but I appreciate the super chat. Says, let's go Big Orange. John's fast-forwarding into the season. He's ready to beat Georgia. He's way down the line, ready to beat Georgia. Appreciate that tip in the old tip jar from John Hill. Set the four with $1.24. What is going on with the chat tonight? Thank you for the $1.24 tip. We appreciate that as well. We got another super chat here. Let me hit that, get caught up, and then we'll jump into the show. Man, so many comments coming in. Flooding the chat. Travis Melvin for $20. $20. You see, that ain't cheap. And Dauber, I know you jumped on a couple. We did the season previews. We've done some streams together since last year. But see, I added a new thing to the Talkin VAWLS network, and that's a leaderboard. We want to let our top super chat contributors, we want to let them know. So Travis Melvin dropping $20, says, go Big Orange. He's on the leaderboard. We'll see if anybody tops that. We got a $5 super chat from David Speaks. Boogie and Dauber, we have RLDs ready to wreck shop on Ball State Thursday night. Yeah, well, I mean, because you say that, you talk about RLDs.
And we got a lot of dudes, man. I mean, a lot of RLDs, real live dudes that are flying around, and we should wreck shop.
We're going to jump into the, what you want to see recruiting-wise, what you think about Carnell Tate. A lot of stuff to talk about because of the super chat. What do you want to see in that opening game? What do you want to see against Ball State next Thursday night?
I'm like I said heading into last year. I thought this team was going to score points. I was worried about the defense. The defense is what I want to see, particularly the secondary and the linebackers. Want to see if they've kind of turned the corner, if they found some guys that are going to step up. But I want the game to be well within hand, and I want some guys to get playing time. That's what you use games like Ball State for. You develop your second, your third, your fourth team guys because you're one snap, one injury away from those guys being the next man up. So that's where we've said it on here before multiple times. That's a drop-off between where Tennessee is and where elite teams like Alabama and Georgia and those other teams are. There's no drop-off, or there's little drop-off between your starters and the guys that are coming in afterwards. So, just really looking for being crisp on both sides of the ball, penalty-free, but particularly I want to see the defense come out, and I want to see some marked improvement, especially the way the season ended last year. They were sort of dominated on the back end in the bowl game.
Let me get this super chat from Dustin Sellers for 10. Thank you for the super chat. Dustin says, I want to see us dominate the first half, sit all the ones, and get those freshman RBs playtime. Yeah, Darby, I agree with that. Darby, you just kind of touched on that, getting some guys, some reps, getting guys in the game. Those running backs, man, they got to grow up, and they got to grow up in a hurry, and that's what I want. I want to see domination in the first half. Maybe even, I think you're going to go out and take care of business against Ball State. I don't think that Josh Heupel is Jeremy Pruitt. He's not going to go out there and let a Georgia State-type game happen. So what I would like to see is even early in the game, man, see some rotation, see Dylan Sampson. A lot of people hyping him up, talking about the camp that he's had, and we're going to get into that in just a second. Let me hit this real quick. Kelly Goodwin becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate you joining the channel. Joining Talkin VAWLS Gold, Kelly's going to have access to fan call-in shows. We're on a membership drive. I want as many members as possible on this channel. Hit that join button down below. It's as little as 99 cents a month. Look, we got 14,000 subscribers on this channel. If every single one of you become a member, then guess what? We're going to bring more content your way. We're going to have more shows in the morning. But we appreciate any and all support. Thank you, Kelly, for joining the channel. But let's get into this thing. Look, like I said, I want to kick this off talking a little bit about recruiting because of Carnell Tate. And, the way that thing played out down the stretch, Tennessee, whether people want to believe it or not, was way out front. Tennessee was way out front in the recruitment of Carnell Tate. Now, I don't know if his relationship with Brandon Ennis is what ultimately won out and got him to Ohio State. I don't know if it's player development, a path to the NFL. I don't know what it is, but the bottom line is he has a good relationship with Nico, and he likes Tennessee. No matter what people want to say, no matter how they want to spin it, how they want to sell it. The lines of communication have been reopened. I made a video just a couple of days ago. If you haven't watched it, go back, check it out. The lines of communication between this Tennessee coaching staff and Carnell Tate have been reopened. Austin Price teased it on a video on YouTube, said there is a little smoke there. Is that smoke? He said, is that a little Carnell Tate smoke? Austin Price is not going to do that on YouTube. He is not going to put it out there if there are not conversations being had. Now, that bottom line is, does that mean that Carnell Tate's going to end up at Tennessee? No, absolutely not. But it means there are still conversations. There is still a chance that Carnell Tate ends up there. Now, a lot of people trying to shut it down right out of the gate, trying to shut it down and say absolutely not, no chance. Well, I don't know if you know who Chad Simmons is, the director of recruiting over at On3. This tweet just came out a couple of hours ago, and I want you guys to hear the comments from Chad Simmons in regards to Carnell Tate and the University of Tennessee. If my internet works, we'll definitely hear it if my internet works. All right, here we go.
Carnell Tate. One time I thought was a Tennessee lean, went back towards Ohio State late before committing to the Buckeyes earlier this summer. Don't think he's done just yet. Tennessee, there's some chatter, there's some buzz behind the scenes that the communication has picked back up with the coaching staff in Knoxville. At one time, I was probably about 80% sure that Tate was going to end up at Tennessee. He has that connection with Brian Hartline. Ohio State obviously has produced wide receivers. He's from the Midwest Chicago area. He's close friends with Brandon Ennis. There's a lot still that helps Ohio State here, and he's still committed. Nothing's, changed. Nothing's happened there, but there has been more, talk, at least according to my sources, between Tennessee and Carnell Tate, and definitely something to watch. We know he's close to five-star quarterback Nico Iamaleava, and the two are in strong communication. He knows other commitments there in this Tennessee class, and I'm not saying anything is imminent, but I think you have to keep an eye on Carnell Tate as we progress through the season, as we close in on the early signing period. Tennessee's in this. They were at one time viewed, in my opinion, as the front runner. He's committed to Ohio State. They're now the leader, but keep an eye on the Tennessee Vols.
All right, Dauber, there's comments from Chad Simmons, director of recruiting over at on3.com. What are your thoughts on all the buzz and the smoke that's starting to fly around Carnell Tate?
I'll say this, and I've stood by this even as the world of recruiting has changed with NIL, with the one-time transfer, with all of that stuff going on. Commitments mean squat. Nothing is final until that piece of paper is signed and faxed in on either the early signing day or national signing day. So how many times have we been on a guy and only to have them send in a piece of paper to a different school? So I wouldn't count us out. You look at Ohio State, I think they've got 4 5-star wide receivers on board. So that's a pretty crowded wide receiver room. And Tate was really heavy on Tennessee. And, you did a video on the whole deal with, the comments from his mom and all of that stuff that went on. I'm not holding my breath either way. If the kid is going to end up being a Vol, fantastic. If not, we'll find the next one.
Yeah, and you bring up an interesting point talking about the loaded wide receiver room, all the 5 stars they have currently committed. We saw it just recently with Jordan Matthews, the cornerback, and he saw Tennessee, he kind of surprised me. Ricky Gibson, I thought he was leaning towards Georgia. and he ends up at Tennessee. And maybe it was Ricky Gibson that said he saw playing time at Tennessee. He saw an opportunity to get on the field and make an impact early. And I think that plays into it with Carnell Tate's recruitment. Again, his relationship with Nico. Look, he likes this coaching staff, and you would be stupid if you didn't mention NIL. There is a good NIL deal in place for Carnell Tate. Now, did Ohio State match that? I don't even know that they had to match it. They may have even been a little under Carnell Tate, under where Tennessee was at with Carnell Tate. But the bottom line is, the lines of communication are open. Like you said, this thing's going to play out. It's not over till you sign the dotted line. One thing that I will say that I mentioned in the video that I made, Nico's different because Nico's in California. So Nico can put pen to paper as a high school kid. Like, that's the difference. Whereas some of these kids like Francis Mauigoa, he may have an offer, but until the pen hits the paper, that offer might not necessarily mean anything. Let me get caught up on these Super Chats here. Set the 4 for $7.13. You guys are crazy tonight. I don't know what you guys are doing with these numbers, but we appreciate the Super Chats. So happy to see you guys with my new eyes after LASIK. Can't wait to see our Vols finally play. GBO, welcome back, Dauber. Thank you for the Super Chat, Seth. Glad your surgery was a success. Thank you for the Super Chat. Appreciate that. Billy H. for $20.22 says, go Big Orange. I like it. I like it, Billy. We appreciate the tip in the tip jar. We also know what you're doing. You're making Boogie go in. Dauber, they have this thing called OBS, and it's for, like, smart people. And, like, all this is automated, and it does it on its own, but I'm not smart, so I have to manually type it in and edit it. But regardless, we appreciate that, Billy H. Thank you for the generous Super Chat. You're on the leaderboard. Thank you for that. Craig J. in the chat. What's up? What's up, Craig? Good to see you in the chat hanging out. Let's jump into this. Let's talk a little bit about fall camp. Again, fall camp is now in the rearview mirror. We've gone through camp. The camp is over. Now we move in to game prep mode. We're just a little over a week away from kicking things off. But now it's about game preparation, not necessarily camp. But coming out of camp, Dauber, we talked about the freshmen. A lot of buzz around Dylan Sampson. A lot of buzz around Squirrel White. And, I don't necessarily know that Squirrel White's going to come out and be some big major impact player, but expecting some nice things from him. But when you look at the grand scheme of things coming out of camp, what's your takeaway? What do you like about this football team coming out of the second fall camp of the Josh Heupel era?
Well, that's the main thing right there, the second fall camp. This team has had a whole year in the system, and now they're coming through their second fall camp. They've grown. I think you'll see an offensive line that is more ready to run this scheme. It's one thing to prep in the preseason for one season and then just go to it. Once you've been through it once, you get it. And I think these guys know that, it's pedal to the floor and we're going. So I look to that. And our offensive line should be pretty good this year. The other thing, a second year for Hendon Hooker in this system. After sitting out the first couple of games and then coming in and taking the reins, we saw how he progressed through the season. Does that continue? I think that I'd read something not too long ago that most quarterbacks in a Heupel system tend to improve in the second year. So, the sky's the limit for this offense. And I think that is what you start, you score 40 points a game and you're flashy and exciting and the defense can do just enough. That is the type of stuff that can be a decision maker and lean back towards in favor of Tennessee for guys like Carnell Tate. Other guys that they're hard on recruiting because, let's face it, if you're an athlete, especially on the offensive side of the ball, why would you not want to be in a system like this that puts your talents on display and it's something like we've not ever seen at the University of Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like you mentioned, Hendon Hooker year 2. Not only just year 2, a full year in the system. I think number one, I think they're going to go faster. I think the up tempo is going to be even faster. But just the confidence factor, going through that grind of going through the spring, also going through the fall and a quarterback competition. That's got to be heavy on you. And you're not going to come out to the media and say it is, but the reality is it is. It is. And now he's going into this, and just the confidence factor. And, I love the comments. I think it was Coach Golish talked about Hendon Hooker's confidence on the basketball court. And they talked about, we want that guy on the football field. We want you to play loose, be confident, be happy, enjoy the game. We're playing a game, man. Like, enjoy it. And I love seeing the clips of Hendon Hooker at the scrimmages, at practice. He's loose and he's having a good time. And I'm excited to see what he looks like, knowing it's his team.
Confident and relaxed is what I've seen.
Yeah, he seems so loose, man. And we saw him, like you just said, get better as the year went on. You touched on the offensive line. I'm going to call out a listener of this channel because he's an OG. He's been around long enough that I can call him out and put him on blast. Cody Branch commented on a video that I made and said, I don't understand all the hype. We don't know who is going to start outside of quarterback, wide receiver, one wide receiver, and running back. Outside of that, we don't know. We're returning 4 out of 5 offensive linemen. And if this coaching staff, if they're going to be successful, if this coaching staff is going to work out long term, guess what? This offensive line is going to be better this year. If not, then you're going to have to make a change. You're going to have to get rid of Glenn Ellerby. If you're returning 4 out of 5 starters, the offensive line absolutely must improve in year 2. I think it's crucial. You're returning 8 starters on offense. That's huge. That's huge. And the same with the defense. And they did do a good job in the portal, adding some depth pieces. But your linebackers, you're 2 deep at linebacker, has experience. They all have in-game experience. Juwan Mitchell had some experience at Texas. Yeah, he missed last year, most of the year, but he's got experience. Aaron Beasley, because of Juwan Mitchell going out, Aaron Beasley, Page, they both got some run. Jeremy Banks, he's going to be the leader of this defense. I like where this football team is at depth-wise, and so much so, 2023 is going to concern me. They're going to lose a lot after 2022. Let me get caught up on Super Chats real quick. We do have almost 300 people watching live. Do us a favor, guys. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. Just to hit that thumbs up. It takes nothing. You don't have to join the channel. You don't have to drop a Super Chat. You don't have to do anything. Just make sure you signed in and hit that thumbs up. It helps the channel. We would appreciate it. But almost 300 people watching on this Wednesday night. Jarrett Black for $2. Thank you for the Super Chat. Thoughts on Ricky Gibson getting his 4th star? Dabra, I'll let you comment on that.
Back to the whole recruiting deal. It's changed. There are so many recruiting services. I try not to buy into a lot of all that. And that's like Arch Manning and Nico. They've dropped in their overall rankings in terms of quarterbacks. You're also talking about a lot of guys who their junior years, they didn't have camps because of COVID. A lot of these guys weren't going places. So there's not as much data and information to rank these guys. Let's face it. A lot of this is pay sites that, want money and want you to subscribe to them to see what they're ranking and get the insider, their little stories and tidbits and stuff about the players. And at the end of the day, how many times do stars actually matter? You got 3-star kids out there that are balling out and 5-star kids that fizzle out. So, and it tends to be, at least with my orange-colored glasses on, that a lot of Tennessee guys, they'll drop star rankings when they commit to Tennessee.
Yep.
Take it
saw
for
it with
what it is.
Davion Bradley. We just saw it with him just recently.
Take it for what it is.
The bottom line is player evaluation by the coaches is way more important than stars. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I know what people do. They're going to come in the comments after the video goes off the air, and they're going to say, well, look at Alabama, look at Georgia. Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, if you sign 7 or 8 5-stars every class, guess what? You're going to have more hits than misses. That's just playing roulette. That's what you're doing. Of course, if you sign more 5-stars, you're going to be better off. You want to sign those big-time prospects. That's why we get excited about Nico.
What have I always said? Players play.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what their star ranking is coming out of high school.
Look at Cedric Tillman.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Look at former Tennessee backup quarterback Harrison Bailey.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, you're in trouble now. Good luck. You're going to get all kinds of hate. I was going to say death threats. You never know what you're going to get. Don't talk bad about Harrison Bailey. There's still one person left in this world, in this comment section, that will eat you alive because of that comment.
Listen,
Dauber said it, not me. I didn't say it. It was Dauber.
I hope the kid balls out at UNLV. But
as a third stringer.
Yeah.
Good luck, kid. That's all I can say. Hey, he's in the competition. He's got a chance. He's got a chance to start at the big-time powerhouse UNLV. Let me hit the super chat real quick. Drew Truesdale for $10. Thank you for the super chat. Going to the Ball State game. Can't wait. Hopefully going to LSU and South Carolina this year, too. Thank you for the super chat, Drew. Enjoy, man. That LSU road game, that's going to be a doozy. That is going to be a hostile environment. But have fun, Drew. Thank you for the super chat. Don Wardrop becomes a member of the channel. Thank you for that. Joins Talkin VAWLS Elite, Dauber. Talkin VAWLS Elite. If you know, you know. That means you are the top of the top. That's $10 a month that he is contributing to this channel. We appreciate it, Don. You got access to custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. Guys, show him what he's won. Show him what he's won. Put those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis in the chat. You've also got access to the fan call-in show. We're going to fire that thing back up. You know, I just did one last week. Going to fire that thing up after the season gets underway. So next Thursday, Tennessee kicks off against Ball State. Myself, Dauber, probably Snake, maybe JP, we'll see. We'll be live immediately following the game. The second the clock hits 0, we're going to get set up, dialed in, ready to go. We're going to go live and talk about it. After that, Sunday night, NCAA 2013, I'll be playing a little video games, but we will be talking Vol football. It's a blast. I hope you guys come check that out. And then every Tuesday night from then on at 9 p.m., fan call-in show, you guys get an opportunity to run the show. Only the members of the channel have access to come on and hang out and shoot the bull. And then, like I said, me, Dauber, will be live every single Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's full steam ahead as we move into this thing. Now, some of the people in the chat talking about the running back position, talking about hoping we can stay healthy at the running back position. Dauber, since the last time you've been on, we did the season preview for the offense, season preview for the defense. Since then, Lynn-J Whitehead injured, out for the year. And then things kind of get crazy. You know, this coaching staff has looked to add a running back in the portal for a long time. They have been looking. They vetted some guys, kind of moved on from some guys. But once Lynn-J Whitehead announced he's out for the year, they add a guy, Lyn-J Dixon, a lot of talent, did some nice things at Clemson, shows up. Dauber, this live stream, before it's all said and done, may last longer than Lyn-J Dixon's career at Tennessee. But if you want to comment on that, but then let's talk about the depth in the running back room. You got 4 scholarship players, and 2 of those guys are true freshmen.
What, 2 true freshmen and 2 sophomores, right?
Is Small maybe a junior? I know Jalen Wright's a sophomore.
So
I'm not sure. Jabari Small
anyway,
may be a junior.
It is, even though they've got a little bit of experience, they're still pretty young. Yeah. I've got a guy that I work with that is a big Clemson fan, and when Lyn-J committed and signed and showed up on campus, he was like, "Good luck with that." So, and I took it as maybe sour grapes because he actually had a pretty decent stretch at Clemson, and I think was kind of promised to be at the top of their running back room, and then they had coaching mix up on the offensive side and all that, but the comment that I got from him was he didn't put in the work, and from what I've read about the situation with him at Tennessee, maybe a little bit of that, like Short Fuse says, but kind of tweaked his ankle, was a little bummed up. But I heard he wasn't hitting the playbook, and I think he thought he'd come in and take over that RB1 spot, and he was going to have to put in a little work to get up there, which to me that's good because, like we alluded to at the beginning of this, you do have some youth in the running back room. It would be good to have some experience, but experience doesn't necessarily trump talent. So I think we do have some talent. Like you talked about Dixon. Not Dixon. Sampson. Dylan Sampson. Super excited to see this kid come out and play. The fall camp that he had, man, if we can get a couple of these running backs rolling and Hooker is on with his accuracy like he was at the end of the season. We talked about it in the season preview on the offensive side of the ball. You don't have to necessarily run to set up the pass or pass to set up the run. You mix it up. And I think Heupel does a pretty good job about mixing it up. We threw out some stats in that preview. I think it was pretty close to 50-50. We talk about running, a fast offensive, and when you think that, you're thinking spread the ball out, fling it all over the place. But that's not necessarily what Josh Heupel wants to do and what he does. He relies on setting up the run game and using that run game and mismatches and keeping a certain defense on the field to exploit those mismatches. And you're setting up, 1, 2, 3 plays from the play you're running.
Right, especially when you go that fast. That's what this offense is trying to do. But he does. I mean, look, it's the run game sets up the pass in this offense. My concern is just staying healthy. Like you touched on there, talking about talent. This team has talent. There's no doubt about it. Dakota, I see you in the chat, buddy. It's okay. It's okay. Love you, buddy. This football team has talent. If Jabari Small and Jalen Wright can stay healthy, it's not going to be an issue. But it's the SEC. And you also have to look at history, the history of Jabari Small. And yeah, he's added the weight. He's bigger. He's more physical. He talked about putting armor on is what he was talking about. We'll see. We'll see if he can stay healthy. Again, the Ball State game to me is get those freshmen up to speed. And they've been praised, man. This coaching staff has praised them quite a bit, but you got to get them up to speed, get them some live reps out there when the lights are on. And that's what, these coaches have talked about. What do these freshmen look like when the lights come on, when it matters? Do they show up and continue to do what they've done in practice? But even still, pass protection is a big thing for freshmen. And that's where, somebody in the chat keeps talking about Princeton Fant. It's been confirmed he's going to kind of be your emergency fifth-string running back. And he's taken some snaps in practice. And he's a guy that you could have him in there at running back, and you can count on him in pass protection. But as far as Lyn-J Dixon is confirmed, so many rumors about him and what actually happened. People out there saying that he got into a fight in the locker room. There are people out there that say he got into a fight with the coaching staff. The bottom line is it was mutual. Both sides agreed it was best to part ways. Whatever happened, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. Lyn-J Dixon didn't really impact this team in any way, shape, or form. Darby brought up a good point talking about him getting banged up, and I wonder if that was part of it. He came in and thought, all right, I'm going to push for the starting job right out of the gate. He gets banged up. He's not running with the ones, and he says, all right, forget this. I'm not doing this. And I like that about this coaching staff. It doesn't matter who you are. You got to come in, and you got to earn it. Look at Bru McCoy, and we'll get into that. We can talk about that in just a second. But Bru McCoy came in, and everybody's excited, talking about his athleticism and how he looks exactly like Cedric Tillman, how he's big, he's physical on the opposite side, and the great things he's going to do in this offense. He comes in, practice number 1, fall camp. He ain't running with the ones. He ain't running with the twos. He's running with like the threes. He's at the bottom of the barrel, and people talked about him needing to get in football shape. He's there. He is in football shape. He's making plays. He's destroying this Tennessee secondary. We just need him to get eligible. Let me hit this super chat real quick, and then we'll talk about the Bru McCoy eligibility issue. Jody Wooten for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Says, I wouldn't be surprised if we flip Tate. Yeah, stay tuned, guys. Look, it's a long way. We'll see how it plays out. But for anybody to just say no, that it's not going to happen, It is what it is. Like, it is what it is. You can say that. You can believe it. There are conversations. I don't think people realize just how close this coaching staff was with not only Carnell Tate, but with Francis Mauigoa. And for one reason or another, they chose another school, but there are still conversations being had with this coaching staff, with Carnell Tate. And I would even say, I don't have it confirmed, Francis Mauigoa, but I would almost guarantee there are conversations taking place there as well. So since we kind of bled into the Bru McCoy drama, let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. Bru McCoy, you know, we're talking in a day and age. Dobber, you're a basketball guy. You know, the kid from Auburn transfers to Tennessee, plays at Tennessee. Now he transfers to Washington State, already eligible. Lyn-J Dixon, the kid we're just talking about, Lyn-J Dixon, has been a part of 3 programs in just a little over a year. But yet Bru McCoy can't get eligible. USC puts out the statement, says that we're not we have no problem. We have no problem with Bru McCoy playing at Tennessee, but yet they won't sign the MPO that would end all of this. It would put it all to bed, and he would be eligible immediately. Let me hit this super chat real quick. Carl for $2. Thank you for the super chat. Can you imagine if Tyon Evans had stayed? Stud. Yeah, he would be huge in this offense, as well as like the name that I keep seeing getting thrown around is Alvin Kamara. Imagine Alvin Kamara in this offense. We got a huge super chat. I'm going to get that in just a second. Dobber, I want to get your comments first on Bru McCoy, and then we'll hit that super chat.
You know, typically we're harping on the NCAA holding up, transfer situations, clearing guys to play. We've seen it multiple times in the last couple of seasons, but you know, as AP and Trey Wallace and some other guys have reported, this isn't the NCAA. This is all on USC, and it's, you know, they're holding up and dragging their feet with that MPO. You know, it's sad that for whatever reason you've got people that work for the NCAA, and I'm talking about like the situation with Uros Plavsic in basketball. You know, he lost half a season waiting for eligibility to come from the NCAA. And then, you know, with the Bru McCoy situation, people at USC, these are supposed to be advocates for the student athletes, and they're supposed to have the best interest of the student athlete, you know, in the forefront. What difference does it make to USC if he's playing at Tennessee? None. Tennessee will not face USC on the field. It's not gonna matter. So sign the paper, let the kid play.
The only argument that I've seen to it is that it could bring on a lawsuit from Bru McCoy's family, because an MPO basically says they kicked him off the team. Like, we all know that. All the charges were dropped. So there's nothing legally that says Bru McCoy is guilty. And I'm not here to debate whether or not he did it. You know, we're going to get into it in just a second, the William Mohan suspension. It's the same thing. You got to let the court system run its course. You have to let it run its course. But if somebody is proven innocent in a court of law or charges are dropped, how can you really hold that person accountable? But the bottom line is they kicked him off the football team. Once the charges were dropped, they didn't allow him back. So an MPO basically says, look, he's academically eligible. There's really no reason why he can't play here, but we're not going to allow him to participate here. And the rumors that I've heard are that if they sign that, they're afraid Bru McCoy's family is going to sue the university and basically say, why is our son not eligible at your school? So I don't know if that's the case, but to me, that's a simple one piece of paperwork, like one-page form that says we're not going to sue. We just want him to be eligible and have the opportunity to go play football, and that's the end of it. Right,
and you know, we'll bring up a similar situation that this could seemingly turn. You know, A.J. Johnson at Tennessee had his legal run-ins and troubles and kicked off the team and ended up losing a year and a half of his career And then, he proceeded to go and work his way onto an NFL team and get some time there. But like I said, these people at the NCAA and at universities, their priorities should be the student athlete. Getting through the legal matters and stuff outside of athletics, I get all that. But if there's nothing else keeping this kid from playing, sign the paper.
Yep. Elijah Allen for $5. Thank you for the super chat. Says Lincoln Riley keeps a Nickelback poster in his office. Why do people hate Nickelback? Why is it cool to hate Nickelback? I like Nickelback. I ain't even gonna lie. I like Nickelback. Submitted it right here live on air in front of 334 people. Speaking of, we got 334 people watching live. Do us a favor, destroy that thumbs up. Let's get that thing well up over 300. We would appreciate it. Thank you guys for hanging out. Just a reminder, going to be live every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Also, the post-game shows. That's the biggest selling point of this channel. We go live immediately after every football game. So Ball State, Tennessee kicks off against Ball State next Thursday, 7 p.m. kickoff. We're going to be going live immediately after. Come hang out. We'll celebrate together. Philip Scalf for $5. Thank you for the super chat. I'm a short fuse meet and greet at the Florida game. Who's your pick as a dark horse star on this roster? The sad thing is I don't do football games because I'm committed we got to be here to do the post-game shows. Dauber will hit a couple of games. JP will probably be at a couple of games. You guys can harass them on Twitter. You can see our Twitter handles scrolling across the bottom. Give us a follow. You can go tag at UT Dauber and say, hey, I'm going to be at the Florida game. You going to be there? Flood his timeline. That would be awesome. Dauber, hit that question real quick. Give us a dark horse breakout star, and then we got a big-time super chat that's going to kind of steer the show, and we'll kind of take a different direction here. But who's your dark horse? You can't say Hendon Hooker. You can't say Cedric Tillman. Give us a dark horse.
Man. Geez. Are we going offensive side of the ball or defense?
Whatever you want. Offense, defense. You can go with the water boy if you want.
I'm going to go with Banks. I look for Banks to have a breakout year on the defensive side of the ball. To watch how he's emerged, it's pretty exciting to see. You're talking about a kid that came in as a running back and was converted to linebacker, and now he is, the top of the linebacker room. And I think that we've kind of seen him, go through some growing pains where dude has a motor that won't quit. And I think that's why he gets in a little bit of trouble with the personal fouls and all the extracurricular stuff. I think if he can harness that and kind of control his emotions that lead to the extra stuff, I think he's going to potentially set himself up for a really good season.
I'm going Jalen Hyatt, and it's because, his potential as a freshman, we saw in Jeremy Pruitt's horrible offense what he could do.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I love the conversations. I love the openness. I love admitting that I wasn't putting the work in. Met with Bayless Jones, said, how did you get to where you're at? The conversations there. I love the coaching staff talking about him doing the work and also putting on the weight. I just like Jalen Hyatt to really emerge. And hopefully for us as fans, he becomes that Bayless Jones guy in the slot. Let's hit this ginormous super chat. $100. That ain't cheap. Everybody's yelling, Boogie, play the clip. We'll play the clip.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man.
$100 ain't cheap. Everything sports with Jay Rice. Is this a YouTube channel that's about to take us over? Are they gonna put us out of business? Is that what this is? $100 ain't cheap. Thank you, Everything Sports with Jay Rice. We appreciate that very, very generous super chat. Got you on the leaderboard down there just below. We appreciate it. Let's go. 8 days away, baby, until the Vols stomp Ball State 63-7. Hendo Cinco. Hooker starts his Heisman campaign. Defense flies around like crazy, calling it Tennessee 10-2. SEC East champs. We beat Georgia, and then they lose one more SEC game. Hooker, Tillman, McCoy, Small, 42 points a game. 42 points again. There's a lot to unpack in this gigantic super chat from Everything Sports with Jay Rice. We appreciate it. Very generous. I've already gone on record and said I think Tennessee scores 63 on Ball State. I think they score maybe 10, 13, 14, something like that. But I think Tennessee puts up a lot of points on Ball State next Thursday. Hendon Hooker for Heisman. I've been preaching that for a while. Let's talk about the expectations, Dauber. Let's talk about it because Everything Sports with Jay Rice is calling it 10-2. Where does this football team need to be? Where do they need to be in 2022 to continue that momentum, continue recruiting, continue to have success, and not have this fan base turn on Josh Heupel? Because I feel like so many people, like Everything Sports with Jay Rice, like a lot of people in the chat, like a lot of people in the comments, are now all of a sudden expecting Tennessee to win 10. There's a difference between thinking they can win 10 and expecting them to win 10. What are you looking for in year 2?
Man, that's a loaded question in and of itself. I think you got to be at eight wins. Anything over that is just icing on the cake. And I think you've got to play competitively for 4 quarters against the likes of Georgia and Alabama. I'm not even going to throw Florida in there. Florida is it's one of those games that we talked about it before. It's one of those, no matter how many times you go into that game on paper looking like Tennessee is the better team, it's always we find a way to drop it. But the Pittsburgh game, it's a potential trap game. Florida, I'm hoping we beat Florida. At LSU is going to be a tough game. That's definitely a toss-up game. And you got Bama at home. You've got a handful of people that have put Tennessee in the column of playing Alabama tough, and that was said last year. Who could potentially beat the likes of Alabama or Georgia, and people were throwing Tennessee in there because of the system they run and how difficult it is to defend. UT Martin should be a game that we're getting some reserves in, like Ball State and Akron. The Kentucky game. Kentucky is going to be a much improved team this year, but it's Kentucky, and Tennessee, like they find a way to squirrel away and flounder away the Florida games, Tennessee finds a way to beat Kentucky. Georgia's going to be a tough one. Down in Athens, between the hedges, you had guys like Roman Harper coming out a couple weeks ago and saying Tennessee's going to be one that upsets Georgia. Missouri, South Carolina, Vandy. I think we are getting back to, and I hope that we can pick up a win over one of the big three, Alabama, Florida, Georgia. But what I hope is we're getting back to where November is, no doubt November. You're going 3 or 4-0 in November. And I know you got Georgia at the first game of November, but you're closing out Missouri, South Carolina, Vandy. So, you close out the year on 3 wins. That's definitely, some momentum moving forward, and hopefully into, your bowl game and picking up one more win.
I've said this 5 million times on the channel, talking about predictions, expectations, all that stuff, but somebody just today in the comments almost seemed offended that I predicted Tennessee to go 8-4. But it's like you said, that Pitt game, I like Tennessee to win that Pitt game. I say it, and I keep saying it, and I will keep saying it. I will say it until September the 10th. I will say it right before kickoff on September the 10th. I like Tennessee to win that game. I just think even though they're returning a lot on their offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, you don't just quickly replace a guy like Kenny Pickett and not see a setback, a guy like Jordan Addison and not see a setback. How would you feel if we lost Hendon Hooker and Cedric Tillman going into this year? You would have some question marks and concerns, and that's no different for Pitt. Their secondary is trash. I think that Hendon Hooker absolutely lights them up. I think they are overhyped. There's a reason Tennessee is favored in that football game. I think Tennessee comes out of September 4-0. They're going to be favored in every single game in September. The bottom line is, Dauber, you said it, Florida is Florida. You got to see it to believe it. That's the words of Brent Hubbs, because battered Vol syndrome is real. Florida has beat us. There have been so many times that we've been better than Florida. We've said we're better than Florida. We should beat Florida. Look at the Zook era. My Lord, we should have beat Florida. But we didn't. And that's the bottom line. We beat them once. One time. That's why we have battered Vol syndrome. But I still like Tennessee to come out of September 4-0. Now, somebody got mad. They said, how do you only see 8 wins? How do you only see 8 wins? Here's why, guys. Because Pitt, Florida, even though I like Tennessee to win those games, that's 2. LSU, that's 3. Kentucky, South Carolina, that's 5 games. 5 games to me that are toss-ups. And you can argue, you can disagree, you can say I have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's the bottom line. Pitt, Florida, LSU, Kentucky, South Carolina. That Missouri game's not a given, Dauber. It's not a given. I like Tennessee to win that game, but it's not a given. So you throw in 5 toss-up games. You throw in 5 toss-up games with 2 losses to Alabama and Georgia. You're telling me that they're going to go undefeated in every toss-up game. I just don't think that's the case. I think they're going to drop some of those games. And I don't know which ones. I'm telling you, South Carolina. And we're going to know more. Look, Locked On Vols, Eric Kane, love the guy. Came on the show last week. Shout out to Eric Kane. As soon as we get off air, I'm hooking up with Eric. We're going to record an episode of Locked On Vols that's going to air Friday morning. He claims it's the first listen of your day. Go check out Boogie Bentley on Locked On Vols Friday morning. Can't wait to talk to Eric. But he's talked about it. You know, we're going to learn more, Dauber, as we go through the season when you start looking at that South Carolina game because it's so late. Which Spencer Rattler do they get? Which Spencer Rattler? We're going to know. So my thought process on that South Carolina game may change once we get closer to it because you don't know what we're going to get with Spencer Rattler. I think he's going to be an upgrade at the quarterback position for him.
Oh, definitely. There is a high ceiling for the kid, but then you also look at he had Lincoln Riley as a coach and was not successful, lost his starting job in a weaker conference. So, you know, to come in and have all this hype around him when he's not been in this conference, when he's not done it, you know, hype, he's had, you know, in some places more hype than Hooker. And look at the season Hooker had last year.
Yep.
Look at the numbers and the consistency that Hooker had to end the season. You know, like you said, it's and it's not just South Carolina. You look at Kentucky. They're a much improved team. What Stoops is doing there, recruiting-wise, and the talent level that he's the bar that he's raised the talent level at Kentucky to, it's going to make that a tough game. And then Levis, you know, he had some good games. It's one of those things. I just think Kentucky's best team that they've had in years, and Tennessee beats them by 3 or 4 touchdowns. When Tennessee was awful, Jeremy Pruitt's, what was it, 2nd or 3rd season? You know, Kentucky came in ranked into Neyland and then, you know, left getting stomped.
I have to do this right now because you're talking about it. You're talking about Kentucky. You know what we are? We're Kentucky's daddy. And you know where you can pick up a T-shirt to let everybody know that we're Kentucky's daddy? You can go to bonfire.com/Vols. /store/Talkin VAWLS. First of all, you can get these brand new mustard shirts. If you want to let people know what we do when things don't go our way, we throw mustard bottles. And if you look at this logo, very clean, very sleek, Talkin VAWLS logo on the top, go big orange. There's also a guarantee on there. The guarantee is 100% for the fans, by the fans. You can see the net weight of that mustard bottle is 19.98 ounces. But what Dauber's talking about is being Kentucky's daddy. Now, we want to go to the stadium, and we want to let people know that we're going to beat Bama. We want to let them know we're going to beat Florida, we're going to beat Georgia. But when it comes to Kentucky, we don't beat Kentucky. We are Kentucky's daddy. So the links to the merchandise is in the description below, or you can just go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. We would appreciate any and all support. Dauber, I cut you off, but you fed me in. I had to talk about Kentucky's daddy.
Hey,
go ahead, continue.
One of those softballs I lob up there for you.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier. It's to me the Tennessee-Kentucky series for us is what the Florida-Tennessee series is for Florida. We find a way to get it done. Kentucky finds a way to collapse in that series. Florida finds a way to get it done, and we find a way to collapse in that series historically. Hopefully, we're turning the tables on that Florida series. We thought we were a couple years ago when you and I were in Neyland.
What a memory.
When Jawan Jennings tiptoed down the sideline and, we're down 21 in the first half and come back. And we've talked about it before on here. That's what makes being a Tennessee fan, being a college football fan so exciting is those experiences you have with your buddies, with your family, sitting on the couch, watching games, watching whatever, basketball, baseball, football with my son, the same way that I sat and watched with my dad, hanging out with you, the connections I've made with Snake and JP and Indy Kid, all these people. That's what it's all about. And I know you same thing for you. You've got memories, you've got connections because of football, because of Talkin VAWLS. It's just that's what makes this time of year. That's what makes being a Tennessee fan so awesome. Is the people that you come in contact with because of it.
Even like going beyond like us, like I'll never forget seeing the streak end. Like that's a memory that I can almost lay out step by step, the way that day played out. Like it is just burned into my head. It's a memory I'll never forget. And it is. It's about experiences, man. It's about life experience. There's a connection with Tennessee fans. It's why you pass somebody. You could be at Walmart, man, and pass somebody with a Tennessee hat, and you instantly have that connection with that person. Like the meet and greet. Just a couple of months ago, man, people driving 3 and 4 hours, and we're meeting them for the first time and talking like we're best friends because of that Tennessee connection. Let me get caught up on Super Chats real quick. Carl for 2, thank you for the Super Chat. Why can't Roman Harrison slide over to middle linebacker? He is a beast. This year, I don't think he needs to, man. I think middle linebacker's locked down. You got 4 guys. Your 2 deep's pretty solid. Roman Harrison hopefully he does some nice things off the edge. We talked about the importance to get after the quarterback, but I think Tennessee is in a pretty good spot at middle linebacker. G. Smith for 5, thank you for the Super Chat. If we beat Florida, then I no longer feel the others are toss-ups. That's something that's worth talking about. I've kind of mentioned that in regards to the Alabama game. If Tennessee goes 4-0 in September, and then they find a way to go on the road and beat LSU, that environment in Neyland Stadium for that Alabama game, it's no holds barred. Anything goes at that point. I will be on this show on a Wednesday at 7 p.m. talking about Dauber, how Tennessee's going to go beat Alabama because of that momentum. That's what I'll be doing. There's no doubt about it.
Momentum's huge. That's why you have teams go on runs. It's big, and you build on it. You get it on your side, and you continue it, and you try to build on it. That's, looking back, and it's one thing to live in the past, but to be in the present right now, because I think this team is good. There's a lot of potential. But if you look to 98, at what that team lost going into the season, and there weren't a whole lot of expectations. Thought, okay, we'll have a decent. I mean, kind of flying under the radar. I'm not saying that this team is going to do that. They're going to go undefeated and win the national championship, but I mean, they've got to play the games, and you start off like you said 4-0. You beat Florida. You go down to LSU, a tough place to play, especially a night game under the lights in Baton Rouge. You come out of that with a win, man. That's a lot of momentum. That's a lot of positivity for the program, and that's a lot to build on.
Yeah, you're going to be believing you can beat anybody at that point. I want to hit this comment from Tennessee Sacrifice. It says, Boogie, the local press taking notice of Talkin VAWLS because the fans are here. For the fans, by the fans. You guys get it. Everybody that shows up and watches what we do, you get it. You understand that me and Dauber aren't like preaching or talking down to you guys. We truly are fans just like you. We respect your opinion. We give our opinions. That's why the fan call-in show is so important, because we want you guys, we want your voice to be heard. And that you're right. You're right. But you got to give credit to Eric Kane too, because you can go to a YouTube channel and leave a comment and say, Eric, you need to do this. You need to collaborate with Talkin VAWLS. It happened within 24 hours. You guys bombarded his comment section and said, you got to get on with Boogie. And within 24 hours, me and Eric Kane were having communication. So you got to give a shout-out to Eric Kane. Looking forward to chatting with him here in just a few moments. Shane Taylor becomes a member of the channel. We appreciate that. Again, the fan call-in show is your opportunity, and the way to do that is by becoming a member. Hit the join button down below. If you're on an Apple product, there is also a link in the description that will take you directly to it so you can join the channel that way. Ethan Dalton for 5, thank you for the super chat, says, I don't see Kentucky as an improved team. Lost Robinson, lost their offensive coordinator. Levis way overrated, lost a few players in the portal. I see a big setback. Kentucky 8-4. The thing about Kentucky, though, is 8-4, their fan base will be content with that. Like, that's why Stoops has been there for so long, because there's no real pressure there. And it's been hilarious to watch, their football coach and basketball coach just absolutely annihilate each other on social media. But, the bottom line is it's a basketball school.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying much improved as in taking a step towards the tier of Alabama and Georgia. They're much improved in the standards of Kentucky football.
They could easily finish second in the SEC East ahead of Tennessee. Very easily. Very easily, that's a possibility.
And I know we're running up on close to wrapping it up. I want to throw this out there. Talking about next week and the, I guess, pregame midweek show Wednesday, and then the postgame. For a lot of these people in the chat right now, a lot of our new subscribers who haven't been with us for a post game, they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun because the chat that we have, everybody coming in, and because it is right after a game, and there's all the raw, real emotion of being a fan, because that's what we are. We're trying to cover this and bring you all good content, good information. Man, my hat's off to Boogie and the work he's put in over the last year plus, and what this has blossomed into. Man, good stuff, dude. But you get in those post games, and we're talking about coulda, woulda, shoulda, it's. I've had people tell me it's like group therapy for when we're struggling, but then we all get to come together and celebrate when we win. It's good stuff. So I encourage everybody to make sure you plan to come hang with us after games, right after game, post game.
It's the best thing we do on this channel. It's the best thing we do on this channel.
I like the interaction we get with the fan call-in stuff too, but post games they're always right up there for me.
I keep having to put it into words, like doing things with Eric Kane, and it's like I keep saying anybody that ever watched the Walking Dead TV show when it was in its prime, and it goes off the air, and maybe there's a big death or some character, whatever happens, and you're like so emotional. It's like, man, I just want to talk to somebody about this, but you feel like you can't. And then they had a show called Talking Dead, which aired right after, and it's fans sitting on a couch talking about the previous episode. That's what we do for the Talkin VAWLS post-game show. So I encourage you guys to come check it out. Xavier for 5. Xavier was going to be on the show, but he was a little late getting home. I said, Xavier, we can do it next time, buddy. You don't have to show up and work every time the lights come on. But thank you for the super chat, my man. Like this coaching staff has said, they came here to win championships. I believe this team will have the mindset to go out and beat every single team. That's why I love the quote from Hendon Hooker. Let's go to Atlanta. He believes it. Rodney Garner believes it with his quote. Coach Heupel believes it. This team believes that they are going to Atlanta. James Moody with a $50 super chat. I was about to wrap the show, and James is like, nah, hold on. I'm going to throw money at you guys and make you stick around. But $50, you know what we do. We play the clip.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 million man.
James Moody for $50 says, Boogie, I know it's about to end, but can you talk about the strength of schedule for us versus Kentucky, Florida, and Georgia this year? Drop a percentage. We can make it to Atlanta like Hendon dropped in the intro. Percentage on going to Atlanta. It's low, man. It's very low for me because so many things have to go our way. Number one, you absolutely have to beat either Alabama or Georgia. You have to. I don't think you're getting to Atlanta. I think you pretty much got to beat Georgia. That way you would at least hold the tiebreaker over them. If you beat Georgia and then, you lose to Alabama, you've got one conference loss, but you would hold that tiebreaker over Georgia. The thing about Kentucky is, just Tennessee in general. Tennessee, every single year, because they're in the East, because of their cross-conference rival, you've got to play Georgia and Alabama every single season. And because of that, with where they're at as a program, and, a lot of talk right now about what the conference alignments are going to look like as we move forward. A lot of talk about that. And you can look at it right now and say, okay, well, Tennessee's going to be in a conference with Vanderbilt and with, say Kentucky and Alabama. Okay, well, that might be fine. Well, what happens, look at Kentucky recently. Like you said, Dauber, they've been getting better. You just don't really know. But right now, Georgia and Alabama are at the top of the top, and Tennessee has to play them every single year. So that's a huge disadvantage when you look at the schedule as far as SEC play. Now, Kentucky, they have an easy road. I think Kentucky has an easy road to 10 wins. Yeah, they got to play Florida. They got to play everybody in the East. But when you look at their, cross-conference opponents and then their non-conference, I think Kentucky's got a road to 10 wins.
Well, I'm pulled up Georgia's schedule, and I was looking at it. They pick up Auburn and Mississippi State from the West. So
Kentucky plays Mississippi and Mississippi State, and I think Ole Miss is going to fall way off this year. I think they're going to have a rough year. I really, truly believe that Kentucky can win 10 games this year. I really do.
Yeah, I think Georgia's got a pretty favorable schedule. Florida, they've got LSU, and they've got Texas A&M. And we'll see if all the NIL money that Big Jimbo is spending down at A&M is going to pay off, if they're actually going to play like a top 10 team or not. So,
call me crazy. I think Florida's in trouble this year. I think they're in trouble. They open against Utah, who's a top 10 football team. Florida could come into Tennessee with 2 losses. They could easily roll in there with a loss to Utah, a loss to Kentucky, and a win over South Florida when they come into Neyland Stadium. And that's why when we continue to talk about the importance of that game, talk about a dagger into the heart of that program, their fan base already seems to hate Billy Napier. They already seem to hate him. Now, if he starts 1-3 with a loss to Tennessee and a loss to Kentucky, their fan base is going to absolutely lose their mind. So they start 1-3. And again, that's a big if. That's a big if. After that, they still have to play LSU. They have to play Georgia. They have to play Texas A&M and Florida State to wrap up the season. Florida could have a brutal year this year. And how patient is that fan base going to be in year one?
We've seen the rabid Tennessee fans, just setting expectations up for 10 wins. Some people are like, 10 wins. It's got to be 10. Pump the brakes a little bit. It takes time, and that's just being reasonable. I want them to win every game as much as anybody else, but there's talent gaps, and there's things that you have to set up. You have to build the foundation, and at Tennessee, it's rebuild the foundation of the program, and I think they're going about it the right way right now. They're working on recruiting, and we talked about it. The landscape of recruiting has changed so much. The NIL, but with Spire Sports and everything that they were out front, leading the charge ahead of the game with a lot of the NIL stuff, and I don't think they've taken a step back. I think they're still on it, and I think that things are good right now. You've had momentum with basketball, with baseball, softball. The women's side of the athletic department is doing well. But you do have to kind of temper expectations and have some patience. On the flip side, it's Florida. I don't care. I hope they lose every game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Now, I'm going to highlight this. I don't know if it's real or not because, we've had Lane Kiffin in the chat. We've had Butch Jones in the chat. We've had Nick Saban in the chat. It's not too hard to change the YouTube name. But if this is the one, Ricky Gibson in the chat saying 23 about to do big things. Yes, sir. If it is you, glad to have you in the chat, my man. I know a lot of recruits, a lot of players, a lot of parents, a lot of family listen to this channel. So if it is Ricky Gibson, dude, we're excited to have you on Rocky Top. Looking forward to you doing big things. People asking if it's him. He says, facts, bro. I will. Jalen sent me. If that's the case, I'm excited about that kid as well. But again, you never know. You never know what's going on in the chat with these guys. Again, sometimes you got Lane Kiffin in the chat. You can see there we've got Heupel's golf ball in the chat. You just never know who's going to show up. I've got to catch up on Super Chats. You guys are like, we're hijacking the show. You guys can't wrap the show. We're going to just hijack it and throw money at you and make you stick around all night. Crazy Nugs, appreciate the $20 ain't cheap, man. Ain't cheap. Can't wait to see your episode of Locked On Vols. I'm glad we got that manpower to make that happen. We need to apply more pressure to USC now. Go Big Orange. Appreciate that, Crazy Nugs. Yeah, he was one of the ones leading the charge in Eric Kane's comment section saying you got to get on with Boogie. Crazy Nugs, let's not put – well, you can continue to push in on USC. Let's push in on Josh Pate or Austin Price and tell them that they need to hook up with Boogie, and let's make big things happen. You guys, look, somebody said earlier, like, people know that this is where the fan base is at. This is – Talkin VAWLS Network is where the fan base is at. They're starting to take notice. You guys have strength. You have power in your voice. Let it be heard. You can let it be heard here. But thank you, Crazy Nugs, for the Super Chat. Tennessee Sacrifice for 10. Thank you for that Super Chat. Says this is for your hard work, Boogie. Appreciate that, man. I love YouTube. I love YouTube. It was a balance trying to figure out how things are going to work. This team is at a good place right now. Dauber knows his role. I know my role. We all know JP Snake. Everybody knows how this thing meshes. And let me tell you something. There's been times in the past that there's been drama in this group because we were all trying to figure it out. Because, look, we're regular Tennessee fans, and we're going from 30 people watching us to 500 people watching us. That's going to create some questions. But let me tell you something, boys. We're firing on all cylinders right now. Looking forward to this fall. Wayne Stars for 20. Thank you for the Super Chat. Appreciate it, Wayne. Let's go, Vols. UT 63, Ball State 10. I like it. Crazy Nugs with another 2. Is that the real Ricky Gibson in the chat? Ricky Gibson says, yep. Now, I don't know if it is or not. If it is, man, I'm excited. Oh, I'm so excited about that commitment. And then you follow it up shortly thereafter with Jordan Matthews. Just adding 2 more corners to this class was absolutely huge. I like what those guys bring. I like what those guys bring to the playing field. Ricky Gibson still says, appreciate it, Vol Nation, showing up, showing out, showing love in the chat. Good to see you, my man. Let's do it. Let's wrap this thing up. I got to jump off here. Going to hook up with Eric Kane. Again, I will let you guys know. I think it's going to be uploaded Thursday at midnight, meaning Friday morning. So make it your first listen Friday morning. Boogie Bentley, Eric Kane on Locked On Vols. Myself and Dauber will be back next Wednesday, 7 p.m. I'll be live on Sunday at 6:30 p.m. playing NCAA football and talking a little Vol football, so make sure you guys come check that out as well. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Click that bell for notifications. So much content coming your way this fall. But that's going to do it. He's Dauber. My name's Boogie. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.